And the man who is following all of the action is our very own Africa reporter, Fidelis Mba, who's outside a polling station in Kenya's capital. Fidelis.
Yes, Kilmany, I'm at one of the polling units in Nairobi where voting is still going on. I've been to other polling units earlier today. This one looks a bit quiet compared to other ones, which had very long lines of people who had been queuing somewhere at the queue as early as 2 a.m. That was 4 hours before even polls opened. I'm here joined by Nanjala Nyabola, who is a political analyst and a writer. I want to ask you, what's your assessment of the process leading up to today's election?
I think it's definitely been a mixed bag. I think there's a lot of things that have been encouraging. We've seen a remarkable amount of participation. There's been a lot of community-level debates, forums, things that are trying to get more people involved from the very beginning of the democratic process. I think the big disappointment has consistently been the institutional response. We had really expected a lot of things from the IEBC, and that just haven't come through. There's been a lot of signs of unpreparedness on their part. Even this morning, from different parts of the country, we're getting reports of ballot papers going to the wrong place. We're getting reports of, polling, not all the full packet of ballots arriving to the specific polling station, issues with electricity, issues with data coverage. And so things like that make people anxious. It's already a tense moment. And so when you add an element of unpreparedness, it just adds to the anxiety.
And, before this election, there were talk about violence actually trailing this, which trailed the campaigns. And, then Kenyans are talking about trying to avoid what happened in 2008 and 2007, 2008. So with what's been playing out, especially with hate speech and all that, do you foresee that we're going to have a free and, violence-free election?
I think that's a big question. I think that it's the rare election in Kenya that hasn't had at least one incident of violence, and I would say 2002 is definitely an outlier. Unfortunately, the political process has such high expectations for so many people around the country, and in some places, people aren't necessarily equipped to handle the high anxiety, the high pressure stakes, and that ends up leading to outbreaks of localized levels of violence. I think that there is definitely reason to be concerned about some of the speech that some of the politicians have been making, and there's definitely a concern about how this information is being disseminated, the press, the social media, the texts, and all of that. I think that on the whole, the sense that I get from talking to people in different parts of the country is that everybody wants there to be a peaceful election. I think there's much less expectation on this election than there was in 2017, and that might actually be a good thing, that people really just want the process to be over and to go well. And so regardless of what the politicians are saying, I think the voters are in a place where they just really want a peaceful election.
Thank you very much.